On day one of the NHC, Jim Miller and Emily Gullikson here. We're joined by Chris Larmey, man who everybody in the handicapping realm knows who we're talking about in the contest, the NHC. So much that goes on for the tour and that. And Chris, you're having a pretty good day one for yourself too.
I'd say an okay day one.
Yeah?
I'm one win away from a good day, so
But-
a couple plays left.
What would you say that, was it anything like of your own doing that made it an okay day from a good day?
No, I just
So then-
haven't, I'm not saying I've had bad luck. I really haven't. I mean, the only really tough beat I had was the last race at Turfway. Other than that, it's been about nothing. I mean, it's been okay.
Yeah.
But you have to have a good day to
Right.
really be in contention. Right now, I'm one winner away, a couple more plays. If I can hit one of them, my target was to kind of get around $100.
Okay.
I'm at 70 right now, so one more winner.
So you have that ability to get in the mix. We have one more mandatory to go. Some people have a couple more optionals to go. When you look at the leaderboard right now, Marshall Graham is your leader, 164.20. Ramon Cazaldias, who we talked to earlier on in the day, 137. Steve Simonovich had that horse at Oaklawn Park, and he said he was going to play his two tickets. He said he was going to play them exact, but not. It's similar. He's at 132.80, 126.80. He's got final table experience as well. He's a good young handicapper too. But
And there's two women in the top 10 right now with Linda Rodriguez and Alexa Zepp.
I saw that. And Alexa's an experienced
Linda
tournament
too.
player
Linda
too.
also,
She's got a lot of tournament experience. She's won or placed in a lot of contests.
Yeah, so before we talk about how it's played for you, just kind of talk a little bit about the expansion of what the NHC's become. We look at this ballroom behind us, 700 plus entries. I mean, all just the buzz, the amount of people, the growth of it all. I mean, you've kind of seen this from the start a little bit, Chris. And what's your feeling for how it's come, how the growth's happened, and now you're looking at somebody who's going to win $800,000 tomorrow?
Well, it's great. I mean, there's nothing anywhere else where you get this experience. I'm not at the racetrack, not at home, where you get in a ballroom with like 500 or 600 other people that really share this passion, and we're all kind of crazy that are in this game. But they all share it, and you get the energy level in the room, especially like when there's a mandatory race and it's coming down the stretch. And it's kind of, I always call it, it's a Horseplayers convention.
Yep.
Really the only thing like it. Lots of great contests like at Hawthorne, and that's kind of like mini things, but this is one where everybody comes together, in one place, and I think it's great. It's supposed to be a celebration of the horse player, and that's why they give out that Eclipse Award at the end of the year. It's not really because you win this contest, you're the handicapper of the year.
Right.
It's you're there to represent all the handicappers when you go get that award.
That's a good way to put it. I never thought about it that way, but I think that is a good way to put it and think about the Eclipse Awards. And as you mentioned that the room starts to get loud, there's a little bit of a battle. And do you think we're at the point, they just announced it right before that race at Santa Anita that there's 9 plays left. What are your thoughts on kind of like playing late, holding tickets, waiting towards the end of the day, the scenarios, the pluses and minuses of that?
Well, definitely on day one, I wouldn't do that. I would just play the races you like.
Yeah.
I mean, on day two, you probably want to save one play near the end if you have to make a tactical move.
Right.
But again, I would say you stick to your plan until you really need to go to plan B.
Well,
like Paul Sherman says, don't panic early on. Stick with the plan, because one or two horses can jump you right up the hill.
Right.
what would you think as far as, would there be an exception if you're somewhere in contention for day money? Because they just announced the prizes for day money.
Well, if I'm Marshall,
Yep.
I'm sitting with Marshall, so he's having a good day. He's in the
Yes.
lead. But there's a lot of races left, and he's probably going to save a play for that last race, just so that if someone passes him, or he's not dead on the board going to that last race. But outside that, I wouldn't even worry about it. If I were, the rest of us in this room, other than a couple people at the top, I wouldn't even be thinking on the day one for sure.
Right. There is I agree, like the overall, you have to play your game, think like the long term, what that goal is. But then there could be some tiny strategy, because day money, they announced it. It's what, 5,000 for?
Well, BCBC spot.
BCBC, so
Right.
that's 10,000 right there.
So I get it if you're near the top,
Yeah.
saving a pick, but if you're anybody else, I would just play the races you like, and if you're done after with 9 races left, or after the last mandatory, just go.
So be it. Yeah.
Go have some fun.
Right.
Or go, up to the room and handicap or whatever, a little of both. But
Cheer on your table mates.
there you
Yeah.
go.
But the thing that's changed a little bit this year, and we talked about the format. Okay, 16 races today, 20 plays tomorrow. I don't know how many people are going to have the time to go out and really party in Vegas if they're really serious about making that move, because there's so much handicapping that has to be done, so many races to choose from. Do you prefer kind of the slight shift in format with more races on that Saturday card?
Well, I am the chairman of the Players Committee, and I have been pushing this move for a while. If you follow racing, just the quality of racing during the week has just gotten so bad. Relative to Saturday, I mean, now everybody seems to point for Saturday.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense to have the same number of plays, especially in this contest where you might have cancellations and off the turf.
Right.
You can get to where it's like really bad,
Sure.
really tough to come up with 18 plays. So taking away a couple of the mandatories today and giving you a couple more optionals tomorrow when the racing's best, I think it's really good. I think most people will like it, but like you said, it's a lot of work, but it was a lot of work anyway. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
I mean, do you already feel it? I'm feeling it a little bit on the end of day one.
Yeah.
And which for some people, actually, this is day 2, because so many people in this room ended up playing first chance, last chance.
They had 800 something entries. So
yeah,
most people are making it it's an ultra marathon.
Right.
Yes, 100%.
But it's a great thing that they've done with this contest is, okay, you have your main contest, but now you're bringing basically everybody else who didn't qualify into the cut line to still stick around and be playing for significant money on Sunday, and then you have the first chance, last chance. I mean, it's turned into a week-long affair.
And that's changed.
And
that's changed.
And the Sunday contest, I think, is much better this
Yeah.
year, where we've got it's set up so that you can win NHC seats and tour points, and it goes all the way through the final table. So it's not so much of a lottery 8-10 race kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and it keeps everybody engaged in the room, hopefully through the final table, because now you're competing in another contest right along with the people at the final table. So I hope that makes that last day wasn't so good for the people who didn't make the cut. I think this will make it more fun.
It's going to keep so many more people around, and it keeps that buzz too. Right. I mean, you talk about the buzz of the last table, but it almost seems like it's trying to get to that last table was where that buzz was, and then it was a little bit of a letdown after the cut line. So I think it has worked out very well, and it's going to keep just kind of everybody into the contest around the room, and then the fact that it is significant prizes, there's money in that involved. You're not playing for peanuts by any means.
Right. So. In fact, I was hoping we could have a cash buy-in if you want extra entries to get a big
That'd be awesome.
Pool.
Yeah.
But the problem with that, first of all, Vegas has all kinds of rules.
Sure.
And the other part is people in the NHC, they use some of the NHC prize pool for that contest, so it's hard to include people who didn't qualify in NHC into that.
Right.
So there might be ways to work around that. But I mean, I think this is a big improvement. You're taking it one step at a time. I think it's a lot better than what we had before. Before it was, was there so people would have something to do, but I don't think anybody liked it. I think hopefully this will be a better contest.
Sure. All right. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to kind of add on that. It kind of felt like you were like in the second pile, right? You're like, oh, you didn't, well, since you're here, do that, but.
Right. Well, what I was going to ask you, because you talk about just from the player's viewpoint and the way the contest is kind of laid out for the type of races, has there ever been any talk or discussion going into the format of the contest? The $2 win place, the caps, anything along those lines?
All the time it gets tweaked some.
Okay.
I mean, there's two things that people have wanted that probably won't happen or might not happen ever. One is have it be online, because like I talked, the main reason this was to celebrate the horse player, make it a horse player convention, and if it's online,
Yeah.
So that's kind of a dud, I think.
Sure.
Another thing is that you have to qualify. You can't buy your way in. I don't think that'll ever change. So those two things. Some people might not like it. They might rather buy in. They might want to play at home. But those are two things that just are kind of, orthogonal to the mission of the whole contest. But the one thing we've considered, and again, it's mainly the Vegas rules, is make it live contest, but still win place. So it would still be mythical win place, but instead of $2 mythical win place, you would actually be betting maybe $10 or $20 to win in place.
Sure.
Through the mutuals.
Yep.
So it would generate some handle,
Yep.
and people would walk away with whatever they won, even if
Yeah.
they don't make the cut.
Right.
But it's a big lift to try to go there. But I mean, someday I'd like to see it where it's actual real money. So everybody, if you cash one ticket, you'll go home with something.
Yeah.
You know, if you make $100 on the day or whatever.
Well, so then now, if they did that, that would do away with the cap roll.
Well, you would have to decide that. You could still, because I mean, there are live money contests where they still cap it. And I like, they used to have contests at the Del Mar Surfside. It was where you bet real money, but they still cap.
Oh yeah, no, I played in those. I forgot about that,
So
but
you
yeah,
can. I mean, you
because
can set
your
it up.
scores are still quote
You would
unquote
still
mythical.
get to keep the money you won,
Right.
but it wouldn't be on the scoreboard. So like say you cash a $100 horse, you get to keep the money, but your score would be, you know, the cap.
Right. Okay. No, that makes sense.
But I mean, so I think we would like to make it so it's live money going through. It would be a fixed win place.
Sure.
You know, and the more the merrier. But the problem with that is the twofold is just making changes in Vegas, and also that money has to come from somewhere. So if it comes
that
out
was
of
the
the
next
prize
question.
pool,
Right.
Correct.
then you know what you're winning is
Yep.
getting it. What it does is it kind of levels out the payouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now a lot more people are cashing, and at the top there's not as much. But I kind of think it's top heavy anyway. So.
Sure. But the good thing is, though, you're open to being able to make those tweaks, and you can listen to players that are
Well,
seasoned
the
players.
NGRA is. We just advise them.
Well, but I'm sure you have a bunch of people coming to you, and then you
yeah, right,
bring the
exactly.
advice to them. But it's nice that you do see those adjustments. It's not it has to be set in stone. There's little things that can
Well,
kind
there
of
was
move
no
along.
final table. That was new. I
Yep.
mean, back when Mike Mayo was the chairman, I was like the co-chairman. He wanted to do a like a one-on-one elimination format
Okay.
where you know it would be like you go head to head and you get eliminated for the final table. I didn't think that would go so well, but I said, you know, why don't we do more like a final table, or like poker, where you still you know cut it down to a
Yep.
small group. And you know that's kind of where we went before. It used to just be there was no cut, just 2
Right.
days, and whoever was at the end won. The bad part of having no cuts is near the end, the people who are out of contention are just total stab.
Oh yeah,
So,
fire for max horses.
And that was really the main reason, even for the first cut, is so that to get to the final table, you won't have 600 people stabbing at you. You only have, you know, the top 10%, and most of those are in contention where they're not necessarily just in stab mode.
Right.
So like those last few, races, or don't like if a long shot comes in completely wipe out everybody's
Right.
2.5 days. Of
But
effort.
but those long shots wiped out somebody else's 2 days, the 2 days before.
Well, yeah, but
So there's
but
always-
it's
I mean,
less likely if you've got 50 or 60 people all in contention playing than if you have 650 and like 550 of them are just in stab mode. You know, it makes it's a different dynamic.
It is a different dynamic, but it's still, I mean, like yesterday, people that are at the bottom at the day one
Right.
doesn't, the people that are playing quote unquote good all day, then all of a
Well,
sudden
yeah,
they
and a
can get
one-day
over,
contest,
they can
that's
get
what
kind of
we're
get
trying- that's kind
overrun.
of
Yeah.
trying to make it 3 days with
Yeah.
some cuts so that, everybody's not in stab mode at the end. So you got to get through the last two gates, and then at the final table, there still might be some stabbing at the end for the people at the bottom, but I mean, everybody's kind of earned their way to that
Yeah.
top 10.
All right.
But,
So
there's no right or wrong.
yeah.
No, I think the progression and the growth and
Yeah.
like the experimentation and giving yourself room to make it better each time, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's always one person wants to do A and the other person wants to do not A, and so you can never make everybody happy, but you're tweaking it and trying to make it better every year.
But when you're drawing this many people, it shows that you're doing a lot of things right. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing, and that's what we like to see. So for your contest specifically, how many plays do you have left today? You have the mandatory, any optionals left?
Yeah, a couple optionals in the mandatory.
Okay, so hopefully trying to get around that $100 mark.
Yeah, Turfway has been my track so far.
Yep.
I wish we had gotten the whole card.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I need one or two more winners, and I'll feel pretty good tonight. If not, I'm not. I think I'm
You're
at
in a
like
good spot.
70.
right.
I have
Yeah.
a good day tomorrow. I can make the
But-
cut.
right.
not like I'm out of it by any stretch, but I was hoping to kind of be closer to 100.
Sure, and that's kind of the key. Next thing is try to make the cut and then go from there trying to make the final table. But Chris, thank you for joining us. Thank you for everything you're doing just for all the handicappers for the contest as well. You've been a big supporter of our contest too.
I love you guys. You guys, I'm a big fan of Hawthorne contest. I love the format where you can go and just bet, however you want.
Yeah.
I've qualified there before a couple of times, and having that $1 million bonus was really nice. Don't have one this year, but makes it a little more
always
fun.
Next year.
It's always nice to offer. But thank you again for joining us. Best of luck tomorrow, and hopefully making the cut and then moving on to the final table.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, Chris
Thanks,
Larmey
Chris.
joining us today, and we're winding down for the end of day one. We have Marshall Graham still sitting there in the lead, Ramon Calzaldias in second, and Steve Simonovich sitting there in third and fourth. So it was one of those things where we'll see what happens as we have one mandatory left. You're looking at it, Ramon's used all his optionals today, so he's at the end aside from the mandatory. It's interesting, Steve Simonovich is sitting there in third and fourth, and you talked about Marshall at the top of the list. Marshall has one optional left, Steve has two left. So going to be curious to see, Emily, how that unfolds.
Yeah.
But we have a special guest here, a guy, you're special to me, my friend Tim Kindlon, who's been a horse owner, a player, a great supporter of racing in Illinois. You're out here for the NHC. So first off, before we get into your horse ownership end of things, how's your experience been with the NHC? Is this your first NHC that you've been out for, or you've been out for a couple before?
Well, actually, Jim, this is my second year.
Okay.
And I'm very proud to say, last year, my first year, I was Rookie of the Year. And for a man of my age, to be a rookie is, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel young and like you're making progress. So, yeah, I was Rookie of the Year last year, and that was kind of the highlight. I haven't been doing too well here, but, I think it's like, what's the saying? Like, the best day is winning at the track. The second best day is losing at the track.
Yeah.
So it's just great to be here. And, the people that are involved with horse racing, like you, people I've met, just through this sport, it just so many great individuals. I mean, and the people that work with the horses, everyone I've come in contact with, they really do care for the welfare of the animals. And it really bothers me the way the mainstream media has really tried to knock horse racing as much as they possibly can. It's like they have a campaign to be negative about the sport.
Yeah, they just don't understand. They just don't understand. It's like everybody in this game is in this game because of horses. Yeah. You could pick anything, but it's like we have the opportunity and the fortune to be around horses. Like, you're wearing a Breeders' Cup shirt, I have a horse necklace. It's like, we love them. And it's just that misunderstanding and getting that message across that we're in the spot that we are to be around horses. And that's the joy, is having the horses.
And like I said, the trainers, several that I've been involved with, all put the welfare of the horse top priority.
Right. So you look at it, I mean, you talk about the work people do with horses. It's a 365-day-a-year job.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you've been a horse owner, you've had horses with numerous trainers, so you see everything that goes into it. But I want to ask you, so you've had the horse ownership aspect. When did things kind of transition over to you to say, hey, I want to play these contests, I want to try to qualify for the NHC? Was that something, Rookie of the Year? I mean, so this is something, if that was just Rookie of the Year, Tim, that means that it wasn't like you were in these contests from the start?
No,
when did you kind of get that?
Well, my friend, my good friend and partner, Wes Herrick, he got me into it.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, you ought to try this. It's kind of fun, interesting. And really, I didn't think I could compete or, be successful with it, but I'd give it a shot.
Right.
And, I did okay. I did good enough to qualify last year and this year. And it's been a great experience. It's just the fascination of the puzzle of handicapping. It's just nobody can figure it out. Even the freaking robots can't figure it out, right?
Right.
But and it's just a fascinating endeavor to try to think of all the angles and how they might play out.
Right.
You know? And it never turns out like you expect it to.
And,
Rarely,
it's never the same. And it's never the same race twice. Even if
Yeah.
it's the same horses, the same scenario, the same. It's never the same race twice. So it's this puzzle and this storyline that is always building, right? All these horses that have run, their story is from the race that they were in prior, and
Yeah.
from the horses that they were in prior. And now we have a new story. It's so incredible.
It really is. And the sport itself, you know, is just, again, because it is getting a lot of negative attention recently. But as far as the safety of the horses, that's continuously improved. I mean, that's a fact. You
Right.
can look it up, but you don't hear that,
Right.
right? You only hear when, you know, something bad happens or unfortunate happens, which is always going to be the
Sure.
case to
Sure.
a greater or lesser degree. But, you know, we're trying. We're
Right.
trying to make it better, and
Right.
it is getting better. I think all the
Some
time.
of that is just like the new sensationalism, right? Like, we live in Chicago. People will be like, oh my gosh, Chicago, and you're like, it's great. You know,
Yeah.
there's like the news stories in the media. So we do have that battle. As far as the tournament today, and you being like a new player, I think it's new to the tournament scene. That egalitarian aspect of being like a rookie that you can start in, and people that are new and can kind of get their feet wet. Learning from first year into this year, what have you kind of learned and grown and experienced along the way?
I've learned nothing really at all. I think I'm regressing, but you know, it happens as you get older. You start, but and I do think though the mental you know, endeavor of doing it, you know, trying
Right.
to handicap is
Yep.
good, especially as you know, get up in years. It keeps your brain active. and
Sure.
Maybe get some neurons working with each other. I don't know, but I enjoy it. I'd love to sit down for a couple hours and just, you know, try to puzzle it out.
So you look at kind of day one, and you said day one hasn't been the greatest for you. But
No.
you know, looking at the leaderboard and looking at kind of how people can just turn things around in one day with 20 plays tomorrow, are you going to change your thought process going in, or you're just going to kind of say, I'm still going with the same process I would normally have when I'm handicapping races and hope it comes together?
I don't know. What would you do if you was me?
I would try to make the cut line. So I guess the main
Yeah.
thing is determining what you think that number is.
Well, I just, you know, my whole thing is just try to find a long shot
Yep.
that has a chance.
Okay.
You know, I think you have to play long shots, and you have to just find a reason. And I don't have any, like, I do a certain checklist of
Sure.
I look for X, Y, Z.
Sure.
Just something that stands out, you know, that maybe the horse will improve. Maybe there's an equipment change, something that, you know, gives you an idea that, yeah, this may turn out different
Right.
this time.
Right.
So you got to get, you know, you have to hit a couple long shots
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
because a couple long shots gets you right in there.
Right.
Two
Yeah.
long shots, you're in the top 30 right now, the way that it's sitting. So
Yeah.
it gives you a good shot. One of the things that Chris, who was just sitting here, he does a couple podcasts. I forget which one it is, but I think he was talking about this in particular. He was saying, like, for handicapping a long shot, like you're handicapping a race, and you look at that long shot, because after the race, right, a long shot wins, and you go back in the form and you look, and you're like, oh, that angle, that ran, you know, and
Yeah.
it's like, take that exercise and do it before, right? You look at the board and you see, oh, this horse, the 2 horse coming up is 27-1. What case could I make? Let's
Yeah,
say he won. What
exactly.
case? You know, you're just, like you said, the puzzle, like you're just changing different ways that you're looking at that puzzle, trying to make a case for something.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, there's so much second guessing involved too. Like, you like that horse, but no, you know, this one maybe has better odds, and you know, go in circles.
Sure.
But and it can drive you crazy, but it's fun.
All right,
It's
so
just-
being a horse owner and being a horse player, level of excitement running down the stretch with a horse you own compared to level of excitement going down the stretch with a horse that you've wagered on.
I got to say, owning, you
Yeah.
know, owning is the ultimate thing, you know, because you live and die with it, you know.
Right.
And you know, you're trying not to go broke.
Sure.
Being in the game as an owner, and you know, we know most owners don't make money.
Right.
So, you know, I think when you're involved as an owner, you know, the horse is kind of part of your family a little
Right.
bit, you know. So you have that emotional connection more so. But winning is always good, right?
So,
We
but
always love to win.
But I'll tell you, the thing that we love, and I mean, I see you all the time. When you have a horse out there, you try to get out there to watch that horse. I mean, I own horses for 12 years, and there was nothing like that rush when that horse is in a race and running down the stretch. And it's something like you said, it's hard to sustain. But if you have trainers that will place horses in the right way, you make smart claims. I know you claim horses in that. It can be beneficial, and it can be something where you can get a good level of enjoyment out of it too.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, the highs and lows, as we know, are incredible in this sport. And but you know, when you're involved as an owner, and like you have your family there, you have your friends there, they can all share it, you know.
Right.
And I think, I don't know about you guys, I think a lot of people I know in the sport, it's a generational thing. It's like, you know, your dad took you to the track, or your you know, I took my grandkids all to the track, you know, over the years. And it's just a great experience to do that together, you know, something you can do together, and to be with friends, like, you know, to people that share the love and the passion for this game, just to be around these people, you know, it's a great experience.
It is a great experience. And Tim, tomorrow, I hope things turn around for you. I hope you have a better day, a rookie of the year type of performance.
Are you doing any picks yourself?
I am looking tomorrow.
Jim Miller's picks? Or Emily's picks?
There's a good thing. Your table's right next to us, so we can come visit you.
Come on over, and we could use some help.
Well, thank you, though, for joining us today.
Yeah, Tim.
My
Best
pleasure,
of luck
man.
to you.
Thanks for having me.
Best
Always
of
good
luck
to
with
see
the
you.
horses that you're owning, too, because we're going to see them running throughout the course of the Hawthorne meet also.
Oh, yeah. We'll be out there, and it's always good to see you.
Well, we'll see you for sure. Thanks
Nice
again
to
for
meet you.
joining us.
Yeah.
Tim Kindlon, one of our players, a rookie of the year last year. A young rookie of the year last
Not
year.
having sophomore jinx.
No, my, hey, that's...
Oh, it's a
the-
bounce. You
it's the
you
beauty of
peaked in
day
your form
two.
cycle, and now you're third off a layoff, so you'll come back
I'm a
around.
long shot, baby.
It's the beauty of day two. Tim, thank you for joining us. We got one more great guest for day number one, but looking at things for the scoreboard again, Marshall Graham, as we wind things down for day one, is at 164.20. Ramon Kazaitis, aside from the last mandatory, 137. Steve Simonovich, 132.80. How about this? Another Hawthorne qualifier, Mike Wilkening, is currently sitting in fourth at 130.46. We've talked, Matt Miller, about Chicago handicappers, about Hawthorne contests, and that Horse Racing Nation wrote an article today about Chicago handicappers. It seems like they're doing pretty good.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
You know what you're doing
Yeah.
too. You've had your share of contest victories as well.
Am I in there?
You should be.
You
if
can
there was
be.
a Hall of Fame,
it doesn't
you'd be in
take
there.
much. It doesn't take. It takes one good day, and you're in there. So yeah.
Talk about though contest play in that, because there's so many different contests. Hawthorne, we do a lot of real money, live money contests. The beauty of no entry fee, the beauty of kind of an open bankroll type of thing, but then how it leads to a contest like this, because some players have to shift their focus a little bit. So there's the qualifying aspect and then this contest aspect. I know you have preferences, but still, I think it does give so many different categories of player a chance too.
Absolutely. And you can look at the sincerity on my face when I say this is the most phenomenal time of the year. So the fact that it's a format that I find constricting and not really to my, it doesn't play to my strengths, I don't care at all. One of my best friends, Marshall, is in a position to be declared the unquestionable GOAT. I mean, if this dude ends up holding on, I could not be, I mean, I've been checking this leaderboard every 5 minutes since I saw him go up there.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
And he's padding that lead, and which is tough to do because there's a lot of people that get to the top, and then they're like, uh-oh.
So no part
He's
of
grinding.
me would even consider taking an ounce of credit for his strategy. We do talk a little strategy. And even yesterday, I mean, before he knew this was the kind of day, we both agree you cannot take your foot off the gas pedal.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's too early. Look, last year or the year before, I think it was in fifth at the end of day one. I think I missed the cut by $2. And you'd say, how's that possible for someone in fifth? Well, a really good day and a really bad day equals pretty mediocre. And so.
And there's been a lot of talk about that we've had with players throughout the course of the day, because there is that aspect of, okay, I'm trying to win, but then others who say I'm going to be satisfied with making the cut, and how close it is around the cut line.
So the exact conversation we had is when do you throw in the towel for the win?
Right.
And I think it was Paul Sherman on Chris Larmey's podcast that was so good about saying it's probably a little later than you think. You're
Yeah.
only a couple away at any point in time. But I can tell you, I'm not giving away anything from Marshall. He wants to win, period.
Yeah.
I mean, so I can't even fathom what would happen such that he would then just focus on making the cut or advancing a couple spots. He is not taking his foot off the gas. I don't know his strategy today. I know he's hit a couple long shots. For all I know, he's also been playing 4-to-1s.
Right.
We don't talk on that level. I just see him and I say, I don't want to disrupt your mojo. Let's keep doing what you're doing. But he's not going to slow down. For someone like me, I'm not sure where I'm at the moment. Maybe like 30 or 40 bucks.
Right.
I'm contradicting what I said before, but I'm not that far from saying that total is a little ridiculous. And let's focus on cashing. And okay, you reset your goal and you go at it.
So, and that's the thing too, where for you being an experienced tournament player and knowing someone like Marshall, for those that know, it might change their thought process a little. Like you just said, okay, I know he's not going to take his foot off the gas, so he might be at a number that where you're currently at could be unattainable just because of the way you might both play. So that might have to change for do I go for the cut line and just for a cash in the end? And I wonder how many in the room even know that that's truly the game that they're playing.
So I cannot help but be a bit of an opportunist. You and I talked before. I just wrote a book. It hasn't been published. It's really close. It's in typesetting and all that kind of stuff. I get into all of this stuff in great detail.
Sure.
I could not agree more with the kind of points you're making. I think in the book I call this handicapping the handicapper. Our friend Howard Kravitz, as we listen to his podcast, he has no idea what he's saying, and yet he has certain catchphrases that tell me everything I need to know about his picks. And so he'll look at a favorite and say he doesn't have to win. That's code for find somebody else.
Yes.
And he doesn't hear that when he's saying it, but I do. Well, it's the same thing with knowing, look, Drew Coatney in the grade 1 gamble last year was sitting in, I have no idea, 5th, 10th, whatever. People should know what kind of player Drew is. They know what he did in the Breeders' Cup and why someone would have thought that this person isn't about to shove crazy. Right, and he did exactly what everybody thought he would do, or the people who knew him, what they thought he would do. Look, it's a little tough to do your homework on 700 people or whatever, but pick up little bits here and there, and you find out how people play and adjust accordingly. If you're tangling with me in a live money tournament, you know I'm going to be shoving hard. Your angle might be, let's see if he blows himself up. Let's pull back a little and not try to tussle with this guy.
So like Marshall in the position, he might know somebody like Matt. Maybe just will think from a mathematical standpoint, I might just play for the cut line.
Yes.
But he also knows there's a lot of people in this room that are going to bomb, and they're not going to give up. And they're willing to go to zero. They're not trying to play for the cut line. They're trying to play for the end. They don't care, and they know, and all they need to do is get hot.
Look,
it's knowing your competition.
And I'm like looking into the souls of the people when I say, hopefully you get a sense for what this means to us here. This is something so important to us. There's really not a price. I mean, it's awful to say because to be responsible people, we all have budgets and debt to manage and all these sorts of things, but it's so intensely valuable that there's almost no accounting for just how desperate people will get. Winning a BCBC was completely life-changing.
Right.
Watching buddies do it, watching their lives, and so how do you get up to the top of this leaderboard and start targeting 4th instead of 3rd? Like, you don't understand what you're passing up. This is lifetime memories. It's special stuff. It's someone different every year. Could be you. It's not going to be me this year, but and look, we're only at the halfway point. Marshall's still sitting in a pretty good spot, but we'll see.
Well, and that's the thing. Right now, currently, the last mandatory race is running. So when you hit the stretch, of course, things get a little bit more exciting in here. But there's 20 more plays that are going to take place tomorrow. So people that had a good day after 16 races, there could be a whole nother group that has a good day after 20 tomorrow.
Absolutely. And so Oh, it's getting loud now.
Yeah, there's a 9-1 that's making a move. They got the chalk on the inside. And now you've got people that are going to start cheering for the 5, and the cheer's quiet.
So I'll tell you something interesting.
Yes.
It is not, you saw my excitement there a little bit.
Yeah.
I figured something out last year at this event, which was something I didn't have a plan for coming in. I didn't really think there was a way to hedge playing in the NHC.
Okay.
I started realizing very early. I was targeting an odds range 5, 6, 7, 8 to 1, and I was finding that I was losing constantly to 2 to 1 shots. And so I started playing rolling doubles using the horses that were beating me. Kyle Roscoe and I last year went on a run. I am embarrassed to say where the equivalent is that we finished on the NHC leaderboard in terms of payout, but we were top 5. I mean, and I finished in what, just outside the cut, and so that was for me my big play of the day. I had 2 massive doubles going into that race, and that I was not expecting to be sitting here watching it. Sorry, I got a little crazy.
No, but that's the good thing about it, because you have to take that into regard. As we see Kyle pacing now behind us, which is a
Get
good,
over here.
good
That
thing
was
too.
amazing.
But this is good because we talked to Kyle earlier, and he mentioned one of his favorite wagers being the double. And that's one of the things where you're not looking at a 3-race, 4-race, 5-race wager where people had talked about throwing massive amounts of money in to try to hit, and a couple favorites can beat you up. You get a couple of prices there, and it can be a nice return. And because you're only covering 2 races, you don't have to put as massive amount in.
Well, and I'm going to say something a little surprising. This isn't some book teaser, although I feel like everything I say these days is kind of key. You get into writing a book, it's so intense that it's really hard to not talk about it. But my success in playing doubles, strangely, has been on the lower end of the odds spectrum. If you've got a good sense of fair value, of odds, you can look at some of the. Wait until you see what this double pays relative to the horses' underlying odds. The overlay was unbelievable. Well, look, if you're a sports bettor, how valuable do you find it when they give you an 80% profit boost? It doesn't exist.
Right.
I mean, we were 15, 30, 20. Right, and yet that's exactly what just happened if you have a good eye for the daily doubles and whatnot. The other reason I like those, if you hit the first half and you're alive to who you want to be alive to, you now get to sit here and watch the board, and when you see a horse getting a lot more play than you expected, it forces you to relook at what you did. You're allowed to change your opinion midstream, and so maybe end up hedging in an area that I didn't think you would, but okay, now this 8 to 1 shot bet down to 4 to 1 is spooky to me, so I'm going to play them even though I don't have them in the double. Maybe you play that to break even, but these doubles offer a lot of opportunity. That paid.
It was like 7-10, 7 to 1.
And that was a 3 to 5 into a 2 to 1.
Right.
And I'm happy with that. That's
that's sometimes, like you said, that's the way you have to play it. So, and there are different aspects, and you talked about like our contests and the format of here being the win place compared to a real money contest. And if this were a real money contest, that could change where you are in the standings based to a win place contest where nobody maybe makes a huge move.
That whole leaderboard would have just flipped, if I'm being honest. Because based on the way I play, that would have been crazy money.
If you had the bankroll at that point.
If I had the bankroll, and if I'm being honest, if that was really going to be my spot. I tend to be very picky about my spots in these live bankroll tournaments. Here, it's more like, I'm bored, let's go kind of do something and we'll try. But in the live bankroll, I don't know that would have been the exact spot I would have targeted. But if you told me I had targeted that spot, it would have been demolished. But I just don't know.
I'm waiting to see if they have the updated scoreboard after the standings here.
Someone, I'm going to guess Ramon I'm going to guess he placed because it looks like he jumped a teeny bit.
So Ramon, so Marshall sits at 164.20, still in the lead with 1 optional left. Ramon is in second. Mike Gillen moved to third. Then Steve Simonovich, Mike Welcoming, and another Steve.
The dollar amount is tightening a little bit too, which makes it more competitive. Because there was a point where Marshall had like a $42 lead on second, which is a big.
That's like a full pick.
That's a full pick.
Yeah,
I mean, a solid pick. And now it's getting tight. It's going to be.
And it's like a half pick. It feels like it's still. It's an unbelievable spot.
It's a great, yeah, absolutely. But
And it's funny, for those that don't know Marshall, you should know.
Yeah.
if you watch our streams,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know Marshall.
He is as good of people as
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
His emotions are so pure, and it's funny, he's also sitting in that seat saying there's a BCBC seat on the line for
Right.
finishing first.
Right.
This isn't someone that's like just reaching for the stars.
No.
He's also practically looking at this saying, I have a chance for a nice $10,000 score here.
Right.
And to be able to do all of that at the same time, I mean, it's a lot. Hats off to him. I'm really psyched.
All right, so let me ask you this, my final question for you. You're a betting man.
Yes.
You're looking at the leaderboard here at the end of day one. Marshall Graham versus the field going
Field.
into day two.
Field, sorry, Marshall.
Okay.
I would take, I think it's even money that the leader is not in the top 10.
Okay. And that's the thing, because that can change over 20 races, and that's what people have to realize.
What do you think? Even money that the leader isn't in the top 10. Do you agree with that or no? What would you take?
Knowing who the leader is, I would take him.
I'll tell him you said that.
Only knowing who the leader is. So, and it's because we've seen so many times people having massive days because it's a couple max horses that they hit, and it just doesn't continue. But knowing who it is.
Where Matt's coming from, he's just going on pure mathematics.
Yes.
And that's where he's going. You have you have a really good player up there.
One against 700.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
just math.
Yep.
Well,
But he could outrun his odds.
And the person in 50th, if they have Marshall's day tomorrow that he had today, I don't know that he's going to be good enough for 50th tomorrow. And so it really flips. But look, there's no place I'd rather be in the entire world right now than sitting over there in his seat with that number. It's an incredible feat.
It is. But Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to.
When the book comes out, we want a copy for one.
Absolutely.
We want to help you sell copies for two, and we want to get in as many hands of people as we can.
No, I appreciate that. And again, I'm gonna look at the people for a second and say, this book is designed, honest to God, to help people. And so, priced a little heavy maybe, come find me and tell me the book didn't help you. I don't even need to see a receipt that you bought it. I'm going to give you your $50 back. But I'm telling you, you should be able to get some good betting tidbits. I tried my hardest, and we'll see. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt, for
thanks,
coming.
Matt.
Best of luck in day two.
right.
Best of luck to Kyle. We saw him earlier just on how he plays and learning
Kyle
and
seems
everything
like he's
you've
in a
done
good
as well.
mood right now, so I think he'll be okay.
It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Matt, thank you so much.
All right, you
We'll
bet.
talk to you later. One more interview tonight to wind things down as we got through the final mandatory race. And again, Marshall Graham is your leader through the 6 mandatory races. He's got one more optional. And then you have Ramon is in second, Steve Simonovich in fourth, Mike Welkening in fifth, Steve again in sixth.
Who has plays though? Who's got plays? Because Ramon's dead.
All right, so
Not
Ramon's
dead,
out. No,
but he
so
can't play
Marshall's
anything.
got one more optional. Steve's got one more optional, and not a whole lot have those optionals left.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple further down that have 2 optionals left.
Okay.
So I'll be curious to see, but we'll see.
But
kind
they're
of,
also running low on chances. So
they're-
you know your options get low.
As I'm well aware of.
Where are you sitting right now?
I have about $45.
Okay.
So
Any plays left though?
one
One
left. One left.
right.
I don't know who I'm going to play, but I do have one more left.
So we've talked to people about the day today, and people saying, okay, there's the leaderboard, and then there's the cut line.
Right.
And everybody's kind of been saying, hey, okay, you can have a not so great day and still get to that cut line on day 2 because there are 20 races tomorrow. What's your feeling kind of moving forward into tomorrow's card and the races? Are you going to change your strategy a little bit based off how things were today?
Yeah, I didn't do too well today. Like I said, I have about $45. So obviously I have to go for higher prices. The one maybe like 10 to 1. I'm not a big shot player.
Okay.
All right. I'm like 5 to 1, 10 to 1 when I come here. So now tomorrow I'll probably have to go 10 to 1. I'm up, something like that. But
Because at that point,
yeah,
if you're playing 5 to 1s, you're thinking, I'd have to hit 10. That's a hard, in order to get to that next jump. That you're playing a little bit higher, you can deal with variance.
I've played as low as 3 to 5 in this contest.
Okay.
So if if I need to move up a few spots,
Sure.
something like that. I've played 3 to 5, and it's worked out. I mean, so there's no. I mean, I don't know if I'd go lower than that, but I've played pretty low prices.
So you talk about contest experience. How many times have you played in the NHC?
This is my 16th time, and I'm already qualified next year. It will be 17.
Okay.
So-
Best successes that you've had. How many? I mean, there's been different amounts of players just with how the NHC has grown. What would you say is the best success that you've seen for the NHC?
I've been on the final table twice,
Okay.
and I've finished 6 both times. The last time I was on the final table, about halfway through, I hit a 7-1 shot at Gulfstream. I took the lead, and for the first time I said, I think I could win this thing. And I didn't cash a ticket the rest of the day.
But it's still, it's that feeling, it's that level of excitement, being like, I have a chance.
And that's that realization, like,
Yeah.
somebody's going to win this. It can be me.
I never thought that until at that point I said,
Yes.
I think I could win this.
Right. Let me ask you this. We talk about the Hawthorne players, the Hawthorne qualifiers.
Right.
You see their names up and down the list, like each and every year. I mean, we've seen Hawthorne players win. We've seen Hawthorne players that are making the final table. What is it about the Chicago players? These guys
And
are all
I'm
over.
still crazy enough to fly out there from New Jersey. You guys,
But we
you're
would
good.
consider you a Hawthorne player because you're coming to play the contest.
I've been coming out there for a while. Yeah, I remember when it used to be in Hawthorne, and I loved the live racing.
Yep.
That's why I love live racing. I used to go out there because there was a track I could see live.
Right.
And play in the contest. But the Hawthorne. I mean, the guy I lost to in that last contest when I came in second. There's no shame in losing to Mike.
Yep.
No shame at all.
Yeah. It's just one of those things too, when we talk about the Hawthorne contest and the format, the no entry fee, the live bankroll, the keep what you
Yeah.
make type of thing. Is there that appeal that draws you to a contest like that as well?
I like, I don't like being forced to play. I like to play when I want to play. So that I like, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that kind of brings us to our point right now. That now, do you feel, was your plan to save this bullet at this point? Or are you now just kind of stuck with it and now you're forced to play?
I don't know if you guys are going to believe this, but I do 0 prep the night before, and I go race to race.
Sure.
Okay.
That's my game. I'm the freshest guy here.
Yeah.
I do nothing and go race to race, so I don't have any idea who I'm going to play during the day. As the contest progresses, I figure out who I want to play. And it works.
With 16 NHCs, I was going to say,
Yeah.
it definitely works for you because
And 2 final tables.
in speaking to a lot of people and talking to a lot of players, it's the hours they're going to put in. They're going to get done with this, maybe grab a quick meal and go back to the room and cram all night.
Exactly.
And they're going to be exhausted tomorrow because
Exactly.
it's a long day.
Exactly, and that's an advantage I have. I'm fresh.
Yeah.
The big difference in my game is the number one thing I focus on. My visual game is very good.
Okay.
So that's the number one thing I do. Now, being all TVs,
Yeah.
it kind of ties my hands. That's why I like the live racing.
Yep.
And I like to be there at the track. But I still have my moments here. I'm still able to, there's so many races here. There's so many, and I'm able to find enough that I think are good to play.
So in talking to Chris Larmey a little bit earlier, he said one of the moves that they made this year was taking a couple of the mandatories away from today and turning it into optionals tomorrow. It seems like that might benefit your play a little bit more.
Yeah,
than
I
some others.
don't like the man. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Right. I like to pick my own races.
So you go from 16 races today to 20 tomorrow. You say you're sitting around $40. Does that still give you the feeling that, hey, tomorrow I can have that type of day that's going to get me to the cut line?
Probably looking forward to Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
So, I mean, I'm not out of it. I stand a
Right.
chance. You got to have a really good day. I've had them before, so. But they don't come around that often.
I mean, if you're able to put up a score like that with 20 races at 150,
No,
you
I'm
already
not
have
that-
40, you're at 200.
I'm just
you're
being
in the
real.
mix.
I'm just being realistic. I'm not. I mean, yeah, I have a chance. I've done it before. I've had days like that before. I could do it again. Is it likely? I don't know.
So, but then that's the good thing about what they've done with the NHC this year, because you have the Sunday contest. If for some reason Friday and Saturday don't go that well, a lot of players can
Right.
stick around, play for that potential for the
yeah.
BCBC
Absolutely.
contest, have the ability to just make another move and stick around on stuff.
A chance to make some money.
Right.
Another chance, absolutely.
So, all right.
Absolutely.
So tomorrow then, no strategy change. Coming in fresh.
That's right.
Just kind of roll from there and.
But focus on a little bigger price horses.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Probably at least 10 to 1.
All right. So it doesn't have to be cap horses all day long because there are some people that'll play that way.
Yeah, I know that's their game. It's not mine.
Okay.
When I'm playing at a live contest like Hawthorne, I focus on favorites and contenders.
Yep.
That's my game, favorites and contenders. I'm not a bomb player.
Okay.
Not that I can't do it, but I'm not the guy. The bomb has to come to me. It has to come to me.
Yep.
I'm not only looking for 20. No, I'm not. I'm looking and I say, I got something.
Right.
He's 20 to 1.
Yeah.
That's usually that I get something and it's, he's 2 to 1.
Sure.
Oh, he's 3 to 1.
Sure. It's an absolutely great way to go about it. We're going to go here. We're going to see people dragging here when we walk in at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning because they've been up all night studying. You're going to be able to walk in fresh and just.
It is an advantage
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I
And
think-
the people that play the first chance, last chance, it's tough. That's 4 days of play. It catches up to you.
Yeah, and a lot of people did who were already in the contest.
But to tell you the truth, right now, I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, I'm a little tired.
No, it doesn't take much.
Right,
It's
and everybody is, but at least you're not having to feel like you have to go back and spend 5 hours studying, looking, not knowing what track conditions are, not knowing what scratches are, anything along those lines too.
And this can mix things up. We just had a 14 to 1 at Turfway.
What is that, Golden Gate?
No, at Turfway.
Oh, at Turfway, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things unfold there because a lot of people getting down to that last optional race. But Joseph, we want to wish you the best of luck. Thank you
very
for
much.
joining us 16 times in the NHC, so you're doing something right for sure.
17.
And you're qualified tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, for next year.
Right.
Yeah, you're already 17.
Already 17, right.
Awesome, congratulations.
Hey, Jim, I follow you on Twitter. Nice to meet you.
You got it.
Finally.
It's a
And
pleasure
Emily
to meet
same.
you as well.
I've watched you become a very good handicapper over the years.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for following us. Thanks for playing the Hawthorne tournaments
right.
too. We enjoy it. Everybody, we want to wish you all the best of luck after day 1, heading onward to day 2 of our tournaments. Emily, we're looking at it right now. Marshall Graham sitting atop the leaderboard. It is Hawthorne players, Chicago players galore that are out there up and down the leaderboard looking at everything. So, and it's people we talked to earlier today. How cool is this?
Yeah, I mean, well, we talk about it. So the best players are in here. So it's like a lot of the best players come through Hawthorne. They play tournaments all the time. Solid top. I mean, and what an advantage. I mean, it's early days, right?
Yep.
Let's pretend like this was like the cutoff right now. Steve Savanovich, when you have 2 in that in that top 10, again, anything can move, but it's a good position. It's a good day. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. Maybe moves things around a little bit, but yeah, awesome first day.
And I am going to ask Steve that. So when we come on tomorrow and talk about day 2 strategy, because Steve said from the start, he was one of our first interviews, hey, I'm sticking with things close together. I wonder if he's going to do that on day 2, if he's going to try to separate things on day 2, so we'll find out. We do have Mike Wilkening lined up to come and join us tomorrow, so we're going to talk to Mike tomorrow. Carl Broberg's going to join us tomorrow. We're going to have a lot more great guests, but you know what? It's been a lot of fun for day 1. It's a little tiring, like Joseph just mentioned.
Yes.
It's a long day. It's a long day of a handicapping for everybody, but I'll tell you, we're going to see if that last price there at Turfway Park kind of turned things around a little bit for a lot of people's final optional. I didn't hear a whole lot of yelling and screaming out there either.
Yeah, it's. I wonder too, because of where we're positioned, if we can't hear the other side of the room. Yeah.
Or if it's just people trying to lay low on day 1, knowing that there's 20 more races to play on day 2. So that definitely could be the case. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're going to be back 3 different segments tomorrow as well. So make sure you check things out on our YouTube page tomorrow at Hawthorne Racecourse. We're going to have a lot more interviews throughout the course of the day. But for now, it's dinner. A little bit of rest for us, but we are in Vegas, so hopefully we'll get to enjoy the evening a little bit, Emily. But hey, we're going to be back at it, doing a whole lot more coverage tomorrow.
Absolutely. Nowhere else I'd rather be, so we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.